Have you ever wondered what the Bible is talking about when it says to prepare for the coming of the Lord? So recently, I've been thinking about that a lot, and I think the Lord revealed something pretty cool to me that I want to share with you. If Jesus did come back right now, do you think you'd be prepared for that? Recently, I was struck with that question again. I was doing my reading and I came across where it talks about that in Matthew. And I began to think about it again of what does it look like? And so I have a story that I think goes along pretty good with that. When I was 20 years old, I was made the general manager of a wakeboard park and I was running it by the time I was 21 years old. So I was a little bit immature. I didn't really know everything that I was going to be doing. Didn't realize that I also took the job of full-time maintenance, all right? And that's running a giant wakeboard machine, 30-foot tall towers that there were 6 of. They had pulleys at the end. They were generated by this massive motor on the first tower. I had no idea what I was getting into. So as I began to run this wakeboard park and as I was doing the maintenance of this machine that I didn't really know how to operate very well, come to find out that we were under Florida law, which states that you have to get the cable inspected twice a year. What did I do as an immature 21-year-old? I would make sure the machine was ready about a week beforehand. I would get all the maintenance done maybe 2 weeks before, get everything dialed in, and that last week was when I would really make sure the machine was running properly. This did not work out all that great. I had a lot of anxiety going into all of these cable inspections because I said, okay, I got it ready a week ago, but something could break. I haven't maintained everything. And it was always just a flip of a coin whether or not the machine was gonna run perfectly or if it was gonna have issues the day before. If things were not running to code, if things didn't look right to the inspectors, that could be anything from a slap on the wrist to a fine, to the park getting shut down temporarily, to the park getting shut down permanently. So there was a lot at stake with these cable inspections that I was not fully prepared for. If the park got closed, I was the one responsible for this giant park filled with people every day getting completely shut down because I wasn't paying attention. I never got fined for any of these inspections. The park never got shut down. Everything always went smoothly. But as I began maturing in this role and in this position, I started to prepare the cable a little bit sooner on. I would do all of my inspections personally throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year. And so I started to really get things dialed in and the machine running the way it was supposed to all the time. So as I started to mature in this role as general manager and got things running properly and smoothly, a couple of years in, they decided to change up the inspection rules. And now they would no longer just inspect twice a year, but they would now inspect anytime without any notice. They can just drop by unannounced and inspect the cable, and we had to be ready for it. That means I had to have the cable ready to go. I had to have the machine dialed in. I had to make sure my employees were properly trained and knew the ins and outs of the machine and how to operate it as well, so that we could pass these inspections if any of these guys were to drop by at any time. Now in Matthew, it says, "Therefore keep watch, for you do not know the day or the hour of his return." And so just like I had to be ready with this cable inspection, Jesus can come back at any given moment, and we have to be ready for him. Say one of these inspectors showed up and I wasn't prepared for the inspection. We get immediately shut down, nothing we can do about it. So what I want to ask you is, what is going to happen on the day that Christ returns and you're not prepared? An inspector coming to inspect the cable when I'm not ready for him is a pretty big inconvenience, right? Well, what about Jesus returning, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and I'm not prepared for his return? I think that's a little bit of higher stake, don't you? The goal is to live a holy and pleasing life before the Lord, before his return. He also told us, right before he ascended into heaven, to go and tell the world about him. I told my employees how they're to operate the cable. I told them how they're supposed to be operating it from day to day, how they're supposed to be inspecting it, so that they were prepared. Jesus said right before he ascended into heaven, go into all the world, spreading the good news of the gospel. We as believers are to go out and spread the good news of the gospel to prepare for the coming of Jesus Christ. What I want to ask you is, are you ready for when Jesus comes back? Are we preparing the way for Jesus? Are we spreading the gospel and letting other people know Jesus is coming back and I want to be prepared for his return? I want to encourage you to be prepared for his return. What does it look like in your life to be ready for Jesus coming back? Oh, no way. That was crazy. What are some areas of your life that you've been struggling in? What are some areas of your life that you know you need to rededicate to the Lord, or that you need to give over to Him? I want to encourage you to search out the Word for yourself and see what the Lord is telling you. I have a couple of examples for you. Number one, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. That is the number one thing that Jesus said to us. The number two is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. I think that those two things are an umbrella in which everything else follows. If you love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and you love your neighbor as yourself, you are preparing the way for the Lord's coming. I would encourage you to read the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, but read it from a different perspective. Go through each chapter and think to yourself, what is God giving simple commands to do? How is Jesus telling me to live my life? What is He saying that is very simple that I can immediately apply to my life today and change the way that I'm living? I firmly believe that if you read through the Gospels like that, the Lord will be very clear with you on things that you can do each day to prepare the way for His coming. There's probably something right now that came to your mind immediately that you need to change, that you need to rededicate to the Lord, a way of thinking, something that needs to be given over to the Lord to prepare His coming. I encourage you to talk to God about it. I encourage you to go and read the Word. I encourage you to finally take that step to fully dedicating your whole life to the Lord, giving every bit of yourself over to Him. In that way alone, you are preparing for the coming of the Lord. Most people will tell you, just get ready at the last minute. I encourage you, be ready all the time. Wow. That's crazy.